Turkey has decided to replace the term Central Asia with Turkestan in its national history curriculum. This decision follows the recent adoption of a common Latin-based Turkic alphabet by the Organization of Turkic States. It is claimed that this move marks a new phase in the strengthening of Turkic identity, fostering cooperation in linguistic and cultural spheres. By using the term Turkestan, Turkey aims to realign itself with Central Asia while also evaluating the region from its own distinct geopolitical perspective. The decision has sparked both support and criticism from various analysts, raising questions about Turkey's intentions to redefine its role in the region. Although the term Turkestan is not new and has a long historical legacy, some argue that recent developments suggest a shift towards a new regionalism. With Russia's influence waning due to the Ukraine war and China's growing presence through the Belt and Road Initiative, this move takes on significant importance amid ongoing geopolitical changes. The term Turkestan holds historical significance, referring to the geographic region inhabited by Turkic peoples, encompassing parts of present-day Central Asia, including Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and China's Xinjiang region. Widely used before the Russian occupation in the 19th century, Turkestan gradually fell out of favor, replaced by the more neutral term Central Asia. This shift began when geographer Alexander von Humboldt first used the term in 1843. Its spread mirrors the adoption of terms like Middle East or Near East, which gained traction through the research of Alfred Thayer Mahan, one of the founders of geopolitics, and were later embraced by Western countries. In the early period Soviet Union, what is now Central Asia was governed by the Turkestan Autonomous Soviet Socialist Republic, established in 1918. This autonomous structure was intended by the Soviet leadership to unite the ethnic groups in the region and spread socialist ideology. The use of this term during this period, which constituted the first phase of Soviet power's domination of the region, was also intended to gain the sympathy of the peoples living there. The area marked as Kyrgyz ASSR roughly corresponds to what is today Kazakhstan. This can seem confusing as Kazakhstan is now a separate country from Kyrgyzstan. The reason for this naming comes from historical ethnographic distinctions. During the early Soviet period, the Russian Empire and later the Soviet Union used the term Kyrgyz to refer to the Kazakhs, while today's Kyrgyz people were often referred to as Kara Kyrgyz, meaning Black Kyrgyz, to differentiate them. In 1925, to reduce confusion, the republic was renamed the Kazakh ASSR, as the term Kazakh became more standardized for this ethnic group, and Kyrgyz was reserved for the people we now call the Kyrgyz. During the 1920s, as part of its nationalities policy, the Soviet Union divided Turkestan, creating the Kazakh, Kyrgyz, Uzbek, Turkmen, and Tajik Soviet Socialist Republics. This effectively abolished the name Turkestan and emphasized the region's ethnic divisions, strengthening Soviet centralized control. In subsequent years, the use of Latin alphabet was banned, and the Cyrillic alphabet and Russian language were imposed. By adopting the term Central Asia, the Soviets further downplayed the region's Turkic ethnic and historical unity. Today, Turkey and the Turkic republics embrace the concept of the Turkic world as a response to this historical fragmentation. Historian Lev Gumilov emphasizes the importance of Turkish ethnicity within the Eurasian landscape and criticizes a purely Russian-centered approach to Eurasianism. According to him, Turks, Tatars, and Mongols are key elements that shape the region's dynamics by adapting to the historical and geographical conditions of Eurasia. Through interactions with various ethnic groups, Turkic ethnicity has played a central role in shaping Eurasia's complex history and culture. Gumilov also argues that, alongside the Russians, the Turks have emerged as one of the region's major powers due to their transformative historical and political role, contributing to the balance of power with their cultural richness. Thus, he stresses the need for harmony in the region. For Turkey, the term Turkestan reflects a desire to reconnect with Turkic-speaking peoples and revive a shared historical and cultural consciousness. This vision, along with the concept of the Turkic world, has been embraced by both the state and the public since the early 1990s. The country has aimed to build partnerships in the region on equal terms, leveraging the unifying power of shared culture to strengthen economic and political ties. As former President Süleyman Demirel famously stated, The Turkic world stretches from the Adriatic Sea to the Great Wall of China. The country has shaped its regional policies under this view. In line with Turkish new regionalism, institutions such as the Parliamentary Assembly of Turkic-speaking countries, the International Organization of Turkic Culture, the International Turkic Academy, the Turkic Culture and Heritage Foundation, the Turkic Business Council, the Turkic University Union, and the Turkic Chamber of Commerce and Industry have been established so far. The curriculum change aligns with the goals of the OTS, which includes Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Azerbaijan as members. The OTS has taken significant steps toward establishing common educational and cultural policies, including joint initiatives to create shared histories, geographic frameworks, and now even a common alphabet. These efforts are seen as symbolic of Turkey's growing soft power and influence within the Turkic world. An important development preceding the curriculum change was the organization's announcement of the adoption of a Latin-based Turkic alphabet, a crucial step toward linguistic unification. By promoting the Latin alphabet and reintroducing the term Turkestan, Turkey is making a strategic geopolitical move. This initiative represents a shift in Turkey's foreign policy aimed at expanding its influence in Central Asia. It is also viewed as aligning with Ismail Gasparali's motto of unity in language, work, and ideas. In light of these developments, various countries question whether Turkey is pursuing a pan-Turkic policy. Russia is skeptical of Turkey's motivation. However, all these initiatives can be analyzed within the pan-Turkism framework. In October 2024, the U.S. Helsinki Commission staff published a report titled Contesting Russia, Preparing for the Long-Term Russian Threat, stating that Turkey should be considered as an alternative power to Russia in this process, and that all pan-Turkic initiatives of this country should be supported. Although Turkey claims that its goal is unity with the Turkic-speaking peoples of the region, the term has its handicaps. For instance, it remains unclear for the time being which category Tajiks and other ethnic groups living in the region will be considered. In addition, the approach of other actors in the region to this issue will also become clearer in the coming period. This move is expected to have significant geopolitical implications, particularly for Turkey's relations with Russia, Iran, and China. Russia has historically viewed Central Asia as part of its sphere of influence and continues to consider the region integral to its near-abroad policy. China exerts substantial economic and political influence in the region, especially in Xinjiang, home to the Turkic-speaking Uyghurs. Turkey's adoption of the term Turkestan could raise concerns in Moscow, Tehran, and Beijing, as it may be seen as an effort to counterbalance their influence in the region. An example of this dynamic is the Ashgabat Forum held in Turkmenistan in October 2024. Some observers suggest that the sudden and heightened interest from Russia and Iran in Turkmenistan is a direct response to Turkey's engagement in the region. Additionally, some analysts contend that such an initiative may be imprudent, considering Turkey's aspirations within BRICS. Russia, Iran, and China all have vested interests in Central Asia, making Turkey's actions in the region even more complex. Russia's ambitions in Central Asia are driven by a combination of security, economic, and political concerns. As the region was part of the Soviet Union, Moscow has historically viewed it as its backyard, crucial to maintaining its sphere of influence. Through multilateral organizations like the Eurasian Economic Union and the Collective Security Treaty Organization, Russia has tried to retain its dominance. Central Asia also holds significant importance for Russia's energy strategy, as the region is rich in oil, gas, and minerals, making it an essential economic partner. Furthermore, Central Asia serves as a buffer zone against potential instability from neighboring regions such as Afghanistan, which concerns Russia due to the risk of extremism and terrorism spreading into its borders. Additionally, Moscow is wary of the growing influence of China and Turkey in the region. Turkey's cultural and linguistic ties with the Turkic-speaking republics, combined with China's expanding economic footprint through the Belt and Road Initiative, pose direct challenges to Russia's dominance. As Russia is embroiled in the Ukraine conflict, its resources and diplomatic efforts are stretched thin, leading some Central Asian states to distance themselves from Moscow. This provides an opening for other powers to step in and increase their influence. Nonetheless, Russia continues to rely on its historical ties, military presence, and energy partnerships to retain leverage in the region. The recent curriculum shift by Turkey, adopting the term Turkestan, and its broader pan-Turkic initiatives signal a growing challenge to Russia's traditionally dominant position in Central Asia. Iran's ambitions in Central Asia are deeply rooted in its desire to expand economic, political, and cultural influence. Its geographic proximity gives it strategic access to the region, and Iran seeks to leverage this position for energy cooperation, particularly in oil, gas, and transportation routes. Through initiatives like the North-South Transport Corridor, Iran aims to connect Central Asia to global markets, bypassing sanctions and reducing dependence on Western routes. Moreover, Iran shares linguistic and cultural ties with Tajikistan, where Persian is spoken, and it often highlights these bonds to foster closer relations. However, Iran faces competition from Turkey's pan-Turkic initiatives, which may undermine Tehran's efforts to consolidate its role in the region. Additionally, Iran's political ambitions are constrained by its cautious diplomacy with Russia and China, both of whom wield considerable influence in Central Asia. Iran must balance its regional goals while navigating the complex dynamics shaped by these competing powers. At the same time, Iran also has concerns about the rise of Sunni-dominant countries like Turkey that could sway the regional balance, particularly in areas where Sunni Islam is predominant. Despite its ambitions, Iran's regional efforts are tempered by these geopolitical realities, making Central Asia a contested space between these larger powers. China's ambitions in Central Asia are largely driven by its economic goals and strategic security interests. Through its Belt and Road Initiative, China has invested heavily in infrastructure projects, energy development, and trade routes across Central Asia, making the region a crucial part of its plan to connect Asia with Europe. Central Asia's rich natural resources, particularly oil, gas, and minerals, are vital for China's growing energy needs, and securing access to these resources strengthens Beijing's position as an economic powerhouse. Politically, China aims to maintain stability in its western Xinjiang region, where the majority of the population is Turkic-speaking Uyghurs. Beijing is particularly concerned about the spread of pan-Turkic or Islamist movements that could inspire unrest in Xinjiang, so it closely monitors Turkey's growing influence in the region. Turkey's advocacy for the Uyghurs complicates China's efforts to manage ethnic tensions and maintain control in Xinjiang. Additionally, China views Central Asia as an area where it can expand its influence at the expense of traditional powers like Russia, especially given Moscow's distractions with the Ukraine conflict. China's growing dominance has not been without local resistance. Some Central Asian nations are wary of becoming too dependent on Chinese investments and loans, fearing that Beijing's economic influence could lead to political leverage. Despite these concerns, China's combination of economic incentives and political pressure continues to expand its role in the region, positioning it as a dominant player in shaping Central Asia's future trajectory. Consequently, Turkey is signaling its intention to shape the new geopolitical reality in the region. Amid the ongoing Ukraine war and China's extensive economic projects, Turkey aims to assert its presence on the global stage. This initiative aligns with a broader trend in Central Asia, where countries like Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan are increasingly distancing themselves from Russia and seeking closer ties with the Turkic world. By positioning itself as the region's foremost cultural and political partner, Turkey is poised to enhance its role in shaping the future of Central Asia.